There are some features of the MPC Renaissance hardware that only apply when using it as your audio interface. You have the option of using the built-in audio interface or using any other interface that you have available to you. These three knobs, located under the MPC Renaissance logo, are your I/O and level controls. They only function if you're using the built-in audio interface. The first knob to the left is the record gain knob. It is used to adjust the gain of the incoming signal from the mic in or the phono in jacks on the rear panel. We'll look at that in a second. You can monitor the recording levels by using the level meter LEDs above this switch, which chooses your input, mic or phono. The knob directly to the right of the record gain knob is the direct monitor knob. Use this knob to adjust the balance between the input and the signal coming from your computer. You can turn the knob all the way to input for zero latency direct monitoring. The final knob in your I/O and level controls section is your main volume, and this does exactly what you think. It controls the volume level to your stereo out jacks. Also included in your I/O and level controls is the vintage mode, located here on the top left of the device under the Akai Professional logo. Press this button to toggle through the available vintage modes. The MPC 3000 and the MPC 60 settings emulate the sound of those classic MPCs, while the other settings emulate sounds of vintage sampling drum machines. When none of the LEDs are lit, vintage mode is off. Now, let's look at the front panel. Here on the front of the MPC, you have two foot switch inputs that allow you to connect optional 1/4-inch TS foot switches. A mix knob that you can adjust the balance between the main and assigned signals in your headphones. The main signal is the stereo outs, and the assigned signal is the assignable mix outs 1 and 2 on your built-in interface. A headphone connection to connect your headphones. They are standard TRS 1/8-inch and 1/4-inch connections. Finally, your headphone volume knob. To wrap up our MPC Renaissance overview, let's take a look at the rear panel. The rear panel is where you make all your connections to your MPC Renaissance. Here on the far right, you have your power switch to turn the MPC on and off. Next to that, you have your power input where you connect your 12-volt DC 2A power adapter. Above that, you have your power adapter restraint. Use this to secure your power adapter cable to prevent it from accidentally unplugging. Here you have your computer USB port. You connect the MPC Renaissance to your computer with the USB cable here. This connection allows the MPC Renaissance to send and receive MIDI and audio data to and from the MPC hardware. I personally love this next feature. Here you have a USB hub where you can connect additional USB devices like hard drives and controllers, or anything else that has a USB connection. Many times, especially on laptops, your USB ports are limited, and when you connect your MPC, you lose one of those ports. This not only gives you back that USB port, but adds another. Really cool. Let's look at the audio outputs. Here you have your stereo outs. You can connect these directly to your powered monitors, mixing board, or whatever monitoring system that you have. Next, you have your assignable mix outs. These can be used to connect additional outs to an external mixer for processing. In the MPC software, you can set what is routed to these outputs. Here, you have your SPDIF in and out. Use these jacks to send and receive digital audio. Let's peek at the audio inputs. To the far left of the rear panel, you have your mic inputs. You can connect a mic to these inputs using the standard XLR connection, or you can connect line-level devices to the same jack using a 1/4-inch TRS cable. Make sure you have set this mic line switch beside it appropriately. Here, you have your phantom power switch. This activates and deactivates phantom power needed to power condenser mics. If you're using a dynamic mic, you don't need phantom power. This is your phono in connection. You'll connect these RCA inputs to an external sound source like a turntable or CD player. Make sure to set the phono line switch located next to it appropriately. This is your ground terminal. Some turntables have a grounding wire that needs to be connected to this terminal to help prevent low-level hum or buzz from the turntable. If your turntable does not have a grounding wire, most likely it is built into the RCA connections and therefore nothing needs to be connected to the ground terminal. And last, but certainly not least, we have our MIDI inputs and outputs. The Renaissance gives you 2 5-pin MIDI input connections and 4 5-pin MIDI output connections to connect optional external MIDI devices.